I'm gonna
Hands
do.
waving clouds.
I'm gonna do the simplest qigong. This is what I'm sharing in my little presentations. Anxiety relief,
Oh, okay.
and just simple. We're gonna imagine or put an oil in your palms. Okay.
Okay. I want an oil in my palm. I'm
I
I'm very
kind of
tactile. I'm tactile. I'm gonna grab my bergamot. Everybody just grab an oil.
Yep. I'm grabbing some copaiba.
Ooh, we have fun things to share about Copaiba today. I'm so excited.
Yeah. Then just rub them together. Right. What we're gonna do is I'll turn sideways so you can see. You don't have to turn sideways. All right. Hands are gonna go over the nose and the mouth, not the eyes. Inhale. Inhale a little more on top of that. And then exhale. Again. Inhale. And inhale on top. And you know how they say the third time is the charm? Inhale. And again.
I love
And to
it.
finish with that third, hands are going to come down and use the thumb knuckles, if you will, to get to conception vessel 17.
Hmm. I
All
think
right.
that brings us right into the present moment. That was a very good start to our magic and wisdom of essential oils. Welcome, everyone. I see Teresa's correcting, connecting to audio. So, hello, hello, hello.
Right.
We are doing a monthly magic and wisdom of essential oils. We're building a library of vodcasts, I guess we're calling it, and continuing this beautiful work of acu aromatherapy. And today, actually, Joseph has we have so much to talk about in such a little short space of time. As some of you know, I'm on the road. I'm traveling back from Texas, and we're on our last leg of our trip. So thank goodness I have good Wi-Fi here at the campground. We're going to do a protocol about spring cleaning, clearing, and opening into flowing. We're going to talk about a very special oil in particular, Copaiba. And we have information about our upcoming second annual
Love
Acu
it.
Aromatherapy Day. So we are growing and expanding this modality in beautiful ways. My card deck is in 12 countries now. We have 136 members as of this morning for our Acu Aromatherapy enthusiast Facebook group. And we have 16 students right now enrolled in the first level one acuaromatherapy certification program.
The
So,
circles.
wow. Yes. And in 16 weeks, those individuals will be running their own acuaroma learning circles. So we are spanning the globe, raising the vibration. And thank you for being here and being part of this.
Mm-hmm.
So, where should we start, Joseph?
Well, a bunch of places, of course, but I want to just play off the circles for a moment. If there's a nice pond out there, right, and I take a good sized pebble and I give it a toss and let it land, I will see a circle and then a circle and then a circle and circle and circle, and it'll get all the way to the shore. There might even be a reverberation back, right? And that's a really good image, I believe, for the concept of circles and sharing the work through circles. Um, Practical, pragmatic, use the deck, use whatever you have at hand to experience the oils and share the experience with a group. All right. Um, and in doing that, while you're sharing, you're also teaching people how to use and how to self-care with the points and the oils. Um, I don't know about you, but in my primary schooling, there was very little training about how to do good self-care. And a lot of what, um, if someone's going to have embodied experiences, embodied wisdom in the use of essential oils and acuaromatherapy, self-care is the root of it. And what I love about the model of circles that you're working with is you take the deck, you share the deck, okay? It gives you something to do. It gives you information in literally bite-sized chunks. Don't bite the cards, okay? But small amounts, all right? And then you get to ingest and metabolize that and get a feel, an embodied experience for how it works. Earlier this week, you shared, or maybe last week, you shared a story of one of the people in the circles or someone you worked with. Can I remember what the oil was? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Was it? There's been lots of stories since then.
So
So it's
she
not coming to me.
she came and she had a
Oh,
trans.
yes.
There we go.
It was my yoga instructor.
Oh yes.
And she had been using, oh gosh, what was it? Kidney, lung one or kidney 27, one of those.
Mm-hmm.
And using some laurel because they were having a lot of seasonal allergies. And
Right.
so what happened was she'd been doing this protocol or this oil and point for several days and started to see a lot of the phlegm clearing up and a lot
Right.
of the congestion post nasal drip. But one morning she woke up and it was, it was happening again.
Mm-hmm.
And so instead of reaching for her Claritin or whatever the, allergy medication was, she did the point. And her body had been learning this over the past few days. And all of a sudden, she got the drainage she needed. She got the clarification she needed. And she said, is it really that simple? And yes, it is. It is.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to overstate the magic, but we don't know beforehand how someone will exactly react. But when they have time to take it in at an appropriate level, wise use, it's diluted, okay? And they have time to use it for their own uses at their own moments, signs and symptoms, all right? They immediately feel something. And that feeling actually is very much the basis of the next time and the continuing response by body, mind, and spirit to, oh, can it really be this simple? Mm-hmm. It's not always that simple. It's wonderful when it is. And I think with wise use and consistent use, it can be simple more often.
But I think what was happening too is that she was learning to create a new pattern. Like we always get so quick to grab for our go-to,
right?
Whatever that is, medication or something else.
Mm-hmm.
And when we start doing these self-care practices with a point and an oil each day, what we're doing is we're creating new patterning, including new neural pathways in our brains, so that we can have another choice, another pathway to go. So that's part of doing the self-care before you do the share care. And yeah.
Yeah. And
okay.
There's a practical and there's a practice wisdom there. I almost, when I saw the post, I was like, it's deceptively simple, but it's still simple. Okay. Because there's a lot of things that you mentioned that go into it. The self-awareness to take the time to try something different than the routine. That's a stumbling block for most of us most days.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So let's create something simple that everybody can do, and we'll wrap some magic and wisdom into our work today. And we've been talking about springtime. Our last couple of gatherings have been about springtime, about the wood element,
Mhm.
about growth, expansion, being flexible, and within that strength of flexibility and clearing out stagnation. So I know we kind of did a deep dive on Copaiba today because we're going to be working with that oil.
So I shall share a screen.
Yes, if you want to.
Give me a few technical moments here because I have a messy desktop. Do it
There we
that
go. Oh,
way.
wow. We have a protocol.
Ooh, oh, hey, can folks see that? Teresa, if you'll give a
Um,
thumb up if you see it, that would
Thumbs
be
up if you see
excellent.
it. Yay, she
Right
sees
on,
it.
right on. Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Ooh.
don't let all the detail blind you. Okay. It's simple. We're gonna kind of hone in on the second oil there, the copaiba. But this is what I would call a protocol or a recipe or a practice flow.
And by the way, I think this protocol is going to be uploaded into the files section of the Acuaroma Therapy Enthusiast Facebook page. So if you're not
Well,
a part of that page, get on board.
a little bit of background here. Um, when I'm working with oils and points, I'm often having so many thoughts I don't know what I'm thinking. You know what I mean? And so I start putting them together graphically. I start moving them around, and then I start to pull images together and make something that I can practically use to experience, hopefully, what I'm hoping to experience. Okay. Um,
That's part of the magic of your work.
yeah. Well, I think we all do this. I just get graphic with it. Okay. Um, and spring cleaning. I don't know about you, but this last week, well, there was an eclipse, wasn't there, Angela?
Oh, yes, and a Mercury in retrograde.
Mercury in retrograde, and um, I won't go into the detail of it, but a situation that I'm involved in long term exploded with a burst of anger on
Mm.
Wednesday going into Thursday. And I just like, I was, first of all, I was angry that someone had got so angry at a friend of mine, okay,
Mm.
which didn't really help the situation a whole lot. But I could feel all that wood energy surging up, okay. If anger, frustration, rage, and breakthrough are the emotion of the wood element, I could feel all of that at once, okay.
Mm.
And it didn't feel good, and it often feels very constrained in the signs and sides of the body. And we have what in Chinese medicine is liver qi stagnation turning into fire. Okay. Um, it's not fun. It's not friendly. It's a lot of energy. So there's a lot there that can be transformed. The question is how? Okay. Um, the protocol here, we're going to start out with Irshen Men, you may know, and Bergamot, which is a classic for this point. Okay. And just get what that citrus can do to clarify and relax. I love the word clarify there. The citruses all do this, have this clarification. It's often meant because it's good for helping clear oils in the skin. All right. But clarifying one's emotions, which often come in a big jangle, maybe with sharp edges, to clarify, I'm angry, I'm afraid, I'm frustrated, whatever, so that I can unravel it a little bit and let it go forward.
And I think with bergamot, if you wait, like wait, because you can feel that lift and clarify. And
Mm-hmm.
after you feel that lift and clarify is where you feel that relaxation and calm.
Yeah.
It takes and disperses all that anger and then brings you back to this little place where you're like, oh, there's where I need to be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just relaxing thinking about it. This is a good thing. This is a good thing.
Yeah.
Briefly and quickly, kidney 27, our next point there. There's the clavicle, there's the sternum. It's under the clavicle right next to the sternum. I don't know if you can see it that well.
There's a
Right
little
there.
hollow you fall into there.
Yeah, it fits a fingertip perfectly.
Yep.
And on that fingertip perfectly could fit a little bit of copaiba. All right.
Yes.
Um, let's experience it or imagine it. What I'm going to do is I've got copaiba on my fingers. I'm going to put them right up to the camera so you can get it. You smell that? Okay.
Smell-o-vision.
I really want that, Angela. Be Connected has to have smell-o-vision first. Okay.
I know. Can I tell you some fun facts about Copaiba?
Sure.
All right. This is something new that I learned in my little research with it. I did not know that the Copaiba plant is commonly known for its use in biodiesel. That's amazing because it's got all the sesquiterpenes and all these little things that work really good in that kind of chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
And one tree can actually, you can harvest gallons of the resin, the sap from it. So
Yeah.
it's a tree that is scientifically it's called Copaiba genus, and
Vera.
it's a
Yeah.
legume. Yeah, it's a legume plant, which I had no idea. And it grows in tropical regions of the world, such as South America and even Africa.
Yeah.
So it has some pretty potent history
Mm-hmm.
as far as copal, which is often used ceremonially in uh, indigenous South American cultures as a uh, incense, or it's burned. That comes from that tree.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really interesting.
Yeah. It means copal bearer, right? Copa vera
Mm-hmm,
is to carry, copal. Okay.
mm-hmm,
Copal in this case is more generic than the copal that we might associate with southern Mexico, for instance. All
mm-hmm,
right. Um, and what is it? 95% of Brazil's oleo resin production, not petroleum
mm-hmm.
production, is Copaiba. Okay. And there's like 70 different species in the Amazon, four of them that are commonly used to end up from the balsam and into an essential oil.
And the name Copaiba was derived from the Tupi Indian word Copaiba,
Mm-hmm.
which roughly translates into deposit tree.
Right. Or copal carrier. That it's the
Right.
reservoir of copal. You
Yeah.
can literally tap the tree. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, I I know a little bit about maple sugar, okay, and that's a sap. Okay. This is an
Mm-hmm.
oleo resin. So
Right.
it will burn, it will give warmth. It's good in biodiesel. It can be used for light, an oil lamp, if you will. Okay. It can be used to burn as a fumigant to ward off mosquitoes. Some of the indigenous uses of it are to use with a newborn to prevent hexes and bad spirits coming in. And
Right.
some of the same people use it to ward off mosquitoes. And we
Mm-hmm.
know mosquitoes are bad spirits, okay? They're evil spirits,
Definitely.
right? Um,
Well,
well,
it was used by Amazon tribes to treat respiratory issues. So I think it's really a good point, kidney 27, to use as we're trying to, lift anything out of respiratory to lighten up the spirit, get some more flow back into the body. So, and it also has anti-inflammatory properties. Um,
well, that kidney 27 is all about that energy of the breath coming up and out, okay? Which also may mean a more appropriate expression of frustration and anger, giving it voice, taking a breather. All of these things are associated with this point. And I think, in fact, the post we were talking about earlier with "Can it really be this simple?" I think kidney 27 was the point.
yeah.
Um, it's wild for me because from learning it back in the 80s, and then seeing whole like tapping, people have heard about tapping,
Yeah.
tapping as a therapy. Okay. Kidney 27 is a huge tapping point, and they essentially borrowed it from acupressure, acupuncture. And so it's got a whole new breath, if you will, a whole new use.
Right, right.
Opens the chest, lifts the spirit. Who doesn't want those things? Okay.
No, and it's really good for the skin too.
Yeah, that's the Copaiba. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I will say a word that's dangerous. Okay. Beta carotene. Okay. I try not
Say
to
that
talk
again.
chemistry too much. Beta carotene. Some people say BCP, beta carotene. Um, Instead of chemistry, I try and think about cooking. Okay. And beta carotene for cooking is very anti-inflammatory. Um, the copaiba adds a little flavor of its own, a little woodsy, a little bitter. Okay. Very,
Mm-hmm.
you can specify it. It's not so strong, but the action of this beta carotene has an anti-inflammatory and has an immune system stimulant and regulator. I'm going to use the word regulator a little bit. I'll underline that. Overactive immune system can be downregulated. Underactive immune system can be upregulated. If you don't know whether it's over or under, okay, you regulate it, it finds its balance. And beta carotene is very good at helping the body do that with inflammation. Okay, be it chronic, be it wound inflammation, right? Um, as a tree resin, all right, the oils, tree resin oils are very good for healing wounds of the tree. In particular, the copaiba oil helps ward off mosquitoes and pests and things like that that might be boring in or biting in to the leaves and into the bark. All right. And then if a branch breaks, the oil goes from the heartwood up to where the branch was and seals the wound from the inside out. So it's kind of an internally generated band-aid. So wound healing, it's a very superior product for. All right. And I'm going to just stretch it a little bit. That wound may be like the wound I was feeling with the anger the other day. Okay. And to actually treat that from the inside rather than blaming somebody else on the outside for it or thinking that they're going to fix it because they're supposed to do this or supposed to do that. I still think those things, but the anger and its potential wounding of me, okay, and how then I might enter into conversation, sending more wound out. This was very transformative for me with the Copilot.
And also because it's an anti-inflammatory, anger is an inflammation.
Totally.
And so that was also working on that level as well. And I think it's really important when we talk about these oils and their physical properties that we can translate them into, what's happening in the emotional body and the mental body as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. You want to maybe talk about the next point in oil combination?
Ooh, sweet marjoram. I love sweet marjoram. Not just as a cooking. You were speaking of cooking earlier,
Yeah.
but here is the conception vessel here in the chest center, and we know that sweet marjoram has a way of helping to relax the body. It's also, it can be good for sleep and a number of things, muscle relaxation, tension, and so it's helping that heart space to relax and calm and not be as tense. And when we're in that type of a heart space, we're more open. Yes, we're more vulnerable, but we are more open to the possibilities of what can happen. That we can take it all in from a heartfelt space and not from that tense, angry, inflamed space. So, and this was new to me with this protocol, working with sweet marjoram on CV17. But I have to say, this week I have really enjoyed it. And I feel like, just because we were traveling and on the road so much, it like helped to negate some of that tension that can come with, 8 hours of driving in a day. Yeah.
Truly, truly.
Yeah.
And this conception vessel 17. Wow. In fact, I had us end there with the end of the Qigong. All
Mm-hmm.
right. Um, that's a very historically valid and often used cross-cultural point, though very few cultures actually call it CV17. All right. But there is something about that space, that literal heart space. And in Chinese medicine, pericardium, the heart protector space. Mm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I like too the wisdom of marjoram, joy of the mountains, from the Greek. Um, the fact that the flowers were used in head, head wreaths, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
in binding ceremonies or celebrations of spring. I'm for all for that. Okay, um, and one of the things that's really interesting to me is it is an herb, and the oil comes from the herb and the flower, and its chemistry is what I would call its cooking uses, or what I would
Mm-hmm.
call flowery. Um, it's not sweet like a rose or like jasmine, but it has some sweetness to it. In fact,
Mm-hmm.
we call it sweet marjoram because it's not oregano. Okay,
Right,
oregano
right. Same
doesn't
family.
have that sweetness.
Yeah. When you do smell it, you get that herbaceous or a little pungent level to it, but it finishes on a sweet note. So you can tell that it's releasing and
Mhm.
coming back to the calming again,
Yeah,
regulating, circulating.
yeah. One of
Yeah.
the words I love in Chinese herbology for that, regulating and circulating, is harmonizing.
Yes,
They
harmonizing.
mean this especially between the earth element of the spleen and stomach, the digestion, and the wood element of the liver and the gallbladder, kind of in the regulation or dysregulation of digestion. And so harmonizing the two of those, okay, um,
Mm-hmm.
I'm noticing this right now is all of these oils, all four of them, are have flavoring uses, okay,
Mm-hmm.
have cooking or food uses. We've got
Yeah.
bergamot in Earl Grey tea, okay. Copaiba is used to flavor different candies,
Mm-hmm.
right? Sweet marjoram, hey, you're cooking with it now, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And rosemary, my God, here we go.
Yeah.
um, One more thing, and it'll kind of, we'll come back to this. Sweet marjoram, you're a gardener, right, Angela?
Oh yeah. I have
Okay.
sweet marjoram in my garden.
And who pollinates sweet marjoram?
Oh my goodness. Probably mid-July. There are so many honeybees on that sweet marjoram. It's amazing.
Yeah,
They, yeah, it's really something.
yeah. And guess what? Our next one, rosemary, who pollinates that?
Honeybees. My rosemary, a good portion of it is in bloom right now. So I've been picking the little blossoms and adding them to salads because even the blossoms taste like rosemary. So it's been really fun. And we have wild onions right now too. So those blossoms have also decorated our salads.
Yeah, I just got from one of my neighbors a jar of rosemary honey.
Oh,
Um,
yum.
so from a large patch of rosemary, and then rosemary infused into the honey.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yes, I
Mm,
love infusing things into my honeys, and rosemary is a really good one to do that with.
mm. Well,
Yeah.
meanwhile, back at the protocol, um, I was leaning into the pollinators there because we'll talk a little bit more about World Acuaromatherapy Day. And one of the themes this year, it's Earth Day also, April 22nd. Okay. And the theme is always, people, plants, planet, and power to the pollinators. Okay. I know, Angela, you've been doing a study of this lately, and you
Yes.
have your wonderful gardening and outdoors experience of pollinators. Um,
Mhm.
and our hope really with this is that we understand the ecology and literally the nature of the plant medicines, the plant medicinals we're using, right? Because that tells us something about how they're useful and how they're useful for the plant as an evolutionary wise being, if you will. I don't want to get too mystical, but wow.
Yeah. We were going through Moab, Utah, a couple days ago. The days are running together, but we took a walk um, a few blocks to the downtown area, and there were several trees. I don't know what kind they were, but we went through by a couple of yards that were obviously gardeners, and there were these trees that had purple flowers, and there were the most ginormous. I mean, an inch and a half large bumblebees that were just covering these blossoms and getting all the nectar out of them. So it's been fun to watch the pollinators, not just the bees, but other pollinators that are around. And I hate to tell you, Joseph, mosquitoes are pollinators.
Oh,
I know
dang
that's
it.
that's their only saving grace for me is
Dang
a
it.
mosquito.
I like things simpler. Dang.
So
Great evil's
anyway,
clear.
there was some wonderful pollinators out working all the plants that are starting to come out. So and there were a lot of wildflowers in Texas. I got some and was able to press them in my flower press and identify them. So that'll be fun. I've been collecting wildflowers in my new flower press so that I can make beautiful little bookmarks out of them for as gifts.
Mhm.
So that's another fun project I got going. But yeah, pollinators are really important out there. Power to the pollinators.
And with gallbladder 34, okay, down there on the lateral side
Oh,
of the ankle.
no, it's gallbladder 40.
Oh, Scott, I sit corrected.
Lower, lower,
Gallbladder
Joseph.
40. I had the location. It was the number I had wrong.
Yep, that's right.
I sit corrected, okay? Um, gallbladder 40, okay, wilderness mound. Um, it's a classic point for a sprained ankle because of where it's located
Mhm,
and the fact that it also helps relax the tendons and ligaments,
mhm.
right? Um, that part of the body is where we articulate, literally articulate our next step or where we get tripped up, okay?
Exactly.
Right? And especially if running a lot of energy at springtime, maybe with its frustration included, um, having some care in my next step, having some care in what I say or do next, how I articulate my frustration, anger, or what I think it might be a solution, right? Um, it's nice to take something like the rosemary in and there on the point,
Mhm.
okay, to help well, for me, rosemary, the camphoraceous quality really clarifies the sinuses for sure, but also my thinking, right? Um, so I'm not just reacting, I'm using my balancing mental capacity to use the energy of the emotion in a useful way
Yes.
rather than just
Yes.
running off with
hmm hmm I was playing around with this point a little bit this week, and one day I used, and I was doing this morning and night. One day I used bergamot, so I kind of opened the protocol with bergamot and ended it with bergamot.
it. Mm-hmm.
Um, in releasing to see if I could get maybe a little more calming effect at the end because it's also going to lift and clarify and then bring some calm, which was interesting. And then the other one that I was playing with a little bit was blue tansy,
Mm,
just to find some harmonizing at the end because I think that blue tansy, and we've talked about it in a couple of our previous ones for spring, that it's really a good one for spring because it can bring some playfulness in, especially if you've been frustrated and had some pent up energy that it can sort of initiate that flow again in a playful way.
yeah.
So, I mean, there are alternatives that you can do for any of these, but this was a beautiful protocol to be playing with. So thank you, Joseph, for that this month.
Just a few more words on that. Um, when I make a protocol, the use of a protocol does not require you do it exactly like it's written. Okay. It's a suggestion. It's a jumping off point. Okay. The dilutions I'm gonna hold pretty consistent with. All right. But you might choose a different oil at a different dilution. Okay. Um, and I hope the protocol is a container for you to play with your experience, to play with your intuition, to play with your senses, and craft it so it's most useful for you. Right?
If you want to journal these too, I have a journal book that I published, so you can write down what oils and points that you're using, and then be able to journal what your thoughts or feelings were, or your experience was about this, any observations.
Mhm.
And, always post your observations in the acuaromatherapy enthusiast group. I want to
Yeah.
know how everybody experiences kidney 27 or gallbladder 40 or any of these points, because this is what grows this body of work. You are not only a pioneer in this work by using it, an early adopter, we'll say, but you are creating the future for this modality. How cool is that?
It's the ripples.
It is those ripples.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me do this. I'm gonna see if I can make the there it is. Okay.
Ah, power to the pollinators.
And protection. I learned something from you earlier this year, Angela. That a gardener should leave a good bit of the duff and the old plant material around the garden for a while longer than just cleaning it up and making it look um, oh, too clean, if you will.
Mhm.
Because some of the pollinators live in that stuff. Yeah. Anything you want to share on that?
Yeah, I think that's why we have so many fewer pollinators, because 80% of the pollinators out there live in the first 6 inches of soil.
It's wild.
So when we have developed traditional ways of farming where plows are going through and they're turning over at least 6 inches,
Yep.
you're disrupting the homes of underground pollinators.
Right.
Yeah.
Where I am
So,
in California, almonds are huge, or almonds, as the case may be. All right. And there's always a big thing. Are there enough bees for the almonds? And part of it is the modern agricultural culture of growing huge orchards of almonds uses exactly the technique you were talking about there. Till it up, okay? So you can put fertilizer in and get things into it, but not realizing there are already things in that 6 inches of soil.
if you just added compost on top and didn't disturb that, you'd have a much better biodiversity within that soil food web.
Wow.
Um, it needs the mycelium too to connect to everything and send messages to other plants. And that's just one thing that you can do in your garden to just not till things up so much.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep amending on top. That'll be good.
Yeah.
The other thing, of course, is commercial fertilizers, which disrupt all the
Sure.
pollinators. And we're thinking of moths, bats, hummingbirds, butterflies, bees. There are only 6 uh, type of pollinators that actually produce honey, 6 species. So I know a lot of our focus gets to be on the honeybees, but there's so many other pollinators out there. I recently learned something about the night moth, or the hummingbird moth, which is a beautiful night pollinator. But its caterpillar is called the hornworm. And I remember growing up in Nebraska, and it was just this ugly, disgusting green worm with a big horn coming out of it. And you did not want, and it lived on tomato plants. You did not want this in your garden because it would eat all your tomato plants. So if you have space in your garden, leave a couple of plants just for the pollinators and the bugs, because then they'll establish that as their space and your other plants will flourish. We have to
Wow.
share our gardens. We have to share space with the pollinators. So I'm really trying to get my community designated, and have the cities involved where they can create placards for and a list of pollinator friendly plants for this growing zone, that they can have that posted in their yard that they are a pollinator friendly garden. And I think that's going to be really fun for a lot of communities. Like, you
Right.
have a tree friendly community, or, that they've established, well, this is a tree city. Why not have pollinator cities? where they
Oh, the
know.
pollinators. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Because as our ozone gets thinner, the plants who are calling in the pollinators have less of a range. Like their pheromones or their scent radar, we'll say, goes out less of a distance when the ozone is thinner.
Right. Gets broken down faster. Mm.
Now, if you have pollinators that can't get that message within a 90-minute period because they have to travel so much further to their nests and back, they don't produce as many young. So
Right.
the number of pollinators are going down too because they can't get to and from the places that are sending out messages.
Mm-hmm.
Come and pollinate me.
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
think that if a kid sees the sign about these are pollinator friendly, okay, that's a mental and emotional experiential piece that says maybe not always till the soil, maybe not always do this big industrial farming piece,
Mm-hmm.
but and maybe there's a way we can do this that's friendlier and more efficient.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that people just don't know. They just go to the garden center and they buy Miracle Grow or and Roundup and they think that's gardening. But, gardening is freshen up your eggshells and having a composting bin and there's some other layers to that are easy to
Yeah.
do. It's not
The, the,
hard.
the dirt under the fingernails layer.
Yes. Well, like this time of year we save all of our coffee grounds and we put them on the blueberry plants because they need the acid from the coffee grounds to produce more berries that year. So that's how one little thing
Huh.
that you can do.
That's why blueberry muffins and coffee are so good together.
Oh yes.
That must be it. That must be it. It is.
Was that the magic part of this, or was that the wisdom part of this?
That's the cooking part of this.
Oh, okay. Oh, did I forget to tell you guys this is the cooking show?
Yeah. Well, I do this. I've had students over the years where chemistry, just the word chemistry freaks them out. Don't use the C word around me. I've been told this. And I said,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
so how's cooking? Oh, I love
Yeah,
cooking.
that's a
Cooking.
good C word.
And okay, I'm not going to say oxidation reduction, but I could say let's cook some dinner. Okay. Or let's
Mm-hmm,
mix some flavors. Right. That goes over well. Plus, at
mm-hmm.
the end of it, you got something to eat.
Yes. So start thinking about the World Acuaromatherapy Day. It's going to happen April 22nd this year, which is also Earth Day. I'd love to hear in the Acuaromatherapy Enthusiast Facebook group, like what's one little thing you can do that day to celebrate? I mean,
Oh, I think we were looking for the Wi-Fi to catch up.
pollinators and
Here we go. So if you
are we
want to
back?
reiterate that one, what's one thing we could do to
Um, yeah, I post on the Acuaromatherapy Enthusiast group, something that you can do to celebrate for Acuaromatherapy Day. Something that you can do, share an oil and a point with someone, maybe talk about pollinators. I would love to hear some conversation.
I would love to hear that too. And I'd love to see we've got 130 some odd members. I'd love to see us get some more members in honor of World Acuaromatherapy Day. And I'd love to know how people are celebrating it across the planet because we do have, I mean, your deck is in like 13 different countries now, isn't it?
12, yeah.
13. I know someone's going to buy one from a new country today. I don't know, but um, that's the magic of the circles of sharing the information and seeing how it ripples out from that. Um, and I mean, one of the things with the cooking versus chemistry is how we share it has a lot to do with how people metabolize it, ingest it, take it in. And when someone actually feels it, okay, and it feels good, they're reliably going to go after that again, right? And it's the simple things that'll get you every time. Because, if you have, as in our earlier example, if you have hay fever, You know it every morning when you wake up in the springtime. Okay. You have allergies and you have gotten into that routine of where's my Claritin? Okay. And if you can do something that relieves the symptoms and helps you breathe deeper, okay, and you're basically using, oh, I don't know, Copaiba or Rosemary or something on kidney 27, okay, I know that it smells better than Claritin. I haven't really smelled Claritin a whole lot, okay, but it also it engages one's own energies to help balance and heal one's own body. Um, I got nothing against Claritin used well. Wise use of anything, I'm down with. Okay. But the wise use of one's own energy and natural substances or more natural substances, hey, that might even be good for the planet and me. Yeah.
Well, and I think Copaiba has those ripple effects going out because it's also activating your cannabinoid receptors and being a pain reliever. So
Mm-hmm.
you're getting a ripple effect in the body with multiple benefits.
Yeah. I ripple effect. I'm going to use that term for the rest of my life. Okay. Because that,
Me
you know,
too.
that pebble in the pond, there's your imagery, and then the ripple effect brings that back.
Mhm.
You're good, Angela. You're good.
We're good together, Joseph.
We're
We
all
have
good,
fun here.
and we're better together. Okay.
That's right.
Song
You're
about that
right.
anyway. Let me do. I think I might have one more slide. Oh,
Okay.
there's
And if
your
anybody has any questions, pop in and ask questions. Unmute yourself.
there. I'll
There
leave
we
that
go.
up. Just in the growing a modality. Okay. I it's the three C's.
Mhm.
Okay. Circles, outreach, sharing, teaching, learning on the embodied level, 1 point person oil at a time.
Right.
And then the ripple effect. See, I've already quoted you once today. Okay. That's progress, not perfection. That's quoted you twice now. Okay. Um, the core understanding of points, core understanding of our palette of oils, these two different palettes as I've described it. Um, and then creation. What are you going to do with this stuff? How are you going to share it? You're going to create a class, you know, you're going to create a relaxation group. You're going to create a circle that a bunch of busy people get a little bit of a break, get a little bit of comradeship, and embody and feel what it's like to bring their body, mind, and spirit into better balance.
Mhm.
Hey, that's creative. Okay. Mm.
And we're giving people tools. We're not just writing a script, and having them go to the pharmacy and, fill it. We're giving them some real tangible tools to practice every day and discover what results they can get with their own bodies.
Oh,
Yeah, that's powerful.
it is. And I think I got to get back to where I once belonged. There we go.
There's a song there somewhere, Joseph.
I my unconscious is very musical. Sometimes I have to kind of hit the mute button, but you got it.
Okay. All right. Does anybody have any questions today before we sign off and make it a day? You can
That's
unmute,
another
ask
quote.
questions.
I'm going to use that one. Make it a day.
Make it a day. Well, I will share I do have a bee tattooed.
Uh-huh.
Uh, I have another one on my shoulder, so I'm properly pollinated today.
No comment. Okay, just none. Okay. You
Ah,
can hear the buzz already. Okay.
I know there's going to be a buzz about this.
Yeah. Again, um, World Acuaromatherapy Day, Monday, April 22nd, Earth Day. Right. For those of you into Chinese medicine and astrology, that morning from 7 to 9, is a dragon year, a dragon month, a dragon day, and a dragon hour. So
and we're coming on.
Yeah.
We're coming on at 8:30 that day live on the
So
enthusiast group.
Don't be dragging your ass, get out of bed and come join us. Sorry.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, we're going to do a special thing on the aromatherapy enthusiast day. So it doesn't matter. Grab an oil. I don't know. Maybe we'll have an oil and a point we'll announce before that, so you can have something ready. But let's make a buzz about it.
Yeah, and people can share how they're celebrating that day, how they're sharing the work, how they're coping with their day to day, anything. What's your experience? How is it working?
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, thanks everyone for being here, or everybody who's going to be watching this later.
Yeah.
We're so happy to have you here and have you part of this beautiful work. Yeah. So rub your hands together. We're going to create some heat. We're going to send some good energy to one another for the day, for the week, for the weekend, wherever you are in the world. Hey. There's Roxandra. Yeah. Ooh, can you feel that? Oh my gosh.
And for all of you, and Angela especially, happy trails to you.
Exactly. And we're going to bring that energy back to our heart space. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for the magic and wisdom of essential oils. We'll post up a link, so those of you who didn't get here will be able to watch the recording. All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Power to the pollinators.
Power to the pollinators.
Bye, all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa.